John Blue has said, Americans don't know about extra. Americans don't know about extra because our income is always chasing our lifestyles. And it's meant to be the other way around, that our lifestyles are subservient to our income. We steward and live within our means. But what happens too often is even if we get a raise, we say, oh, well that means I can, and we raise our lifestyle. We go buy that thing. In fact, nowadays, what do you hear on TV all the time? We will file your taxes for you. You won't even see your money. You can spend it before you even get it. Just come and buy, buy, buy. We need to discipline ourselves through godly self-discipline and corral our credit, diminish our debt. Number 5, save systematically. Save systematically. Establish a financial plan where you save either in a simple savings account or through investments. At the end of 2004, the average family was using 21% of their income to service monthly credit card debt. Did you catch that? Close to 25% of an annual income being used to service credit card debt. And where I read that, they followed it up by saying, that is just to meet the minimal payment. That's not to take away from what is owed. And so the interest is compounding and compounding. And the average family is using 21% of their income to service credit card debt. When you're that strapped, you can't feel free to give. You can't feel free to generously give and to share. You're controlled by your debt. And so I would recommend that you just kind of tighten your belts. Look at your budget. Tighten your belts. And start saying, how can we pay this down? And part of that's going to be get rid of credit cards, quit spending, and start cutting down that debt to free you up. And that you can begin to save systematically. And as things improve, then increase the amount that you're able to save. Dave Ramsey recommends for Christians kind of like a general 3-part breakdown of a budget. 10% of what you get goes immediately to God. You pay God first. The second 10%, you pay yourself. You take that 10% and you put it in savings and you don't touch it. And the 80% that's left over, you steward soberly. You budget it and you begin to put so much toward paying down your debt and so much toward paying the bills that you need to pay. And hopefully within that framework, find some funds that you can enjoy nights out or go on a vacation. But start to save systematically. Experts also recommend that you save a minimal amount that is equal to 6 to 8 months of your living expenses as a buffer should you experience some type of emergency or experience job loss, as many people are experiencing both of those in this economy. Number 6, persistently pray. Pray persistently. Don't leave God out of all this. You know, God is Lord over all things, and it is God who gives us. And if we're going to steward the finances that we have, we need to seek Him and to seek His wisdom, to seek His insight as we make these crucial decisions about stewardship. Proverbs chapter 3, we read, trust in the Lord with all your heart. And don't lean on your own understanding. Don't think you can handle it all on your own. But you trust in Him. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will keep or make your path straight. He'll give you the wisdom and the insight that you need for making sound financial decisions. But you got to include Him. A second benefit of praying persistently is that it keeps our eyes focused on the one who is in control. When we talk about not being able to worship God and worship money at the same time, when we're worshiping God and we're focused on God, it keeps us from worshiping and focusing on the funds and the finances. So pray without ceasing and make your requests known to God. But don't expect God to somehow miraculously get you out of a hole that you've spent yourself into. Sometimes he will respond. But at the same time, just ask him for the wisdom and the insight on how to climb step by step by step out of that hole to a point where you have financial peace and freedom in stewardship. Now, number 7, I thought of yesterday, and so it's not actually on your list. But number 7, consult a counselor. You know, when you're sick physically, you go to a doctor, and there's no apology for that. If you're ailing in your financial picture, don't be ashamed and don't be afraid to seek financial counsel. Consult a counselor who may be able to look in objectively from the outside and give you some steps, some practical things that you can do in order to get yourself on more sound financial footing. I use a number of different resources in preparing this morning, and so I'm going to ask Ben later to put those resources on the website, and so you can look at some of those resources. And don't forget, on the 28th of this month, we're going to have this seminar, and it's a good opportunity for you to access some wisdom from some people who counsel other people in the area of finances. And so if you want to attend that, it's just $10 a family. One of the reasons we made it so minimal cost is because we figured if people are struggling financially, we don't want to put them out of the picture by charging such a large amount. So let us know on your attendance card that you would be interested in attending on 2/28. So let's finish up here. J.G. Holland wrote, "God gives every bird its food, but he doesn't throw it into the nest." God has promised to provide our needs, but we have to be as diligent as the birds in doing our part. The parable of the stewards teaches that God blesses those who honor him and worship him above possessions and dollars. God honors those who boast in him and not in their wealth and their riches. You know, it's interesting that when Satan was tempting Jesus in the desert, one of the temptations he offered to Jesus was he showed him all of the riches of the earth. And he said, "I'll give you all of these if you'll bow down and worship me." And I think Satan was saying, without saying it, that one of the greatest temptations all of mankind will ever have to face, and one of the greatest temptations I will use to pull worship away from God, will be the temptation of ownership of possessions and finances. And I will tease people with the ability to get rich and to feel that somehow if they get rich, if they get the finances, then that's all the meaning in life. And what was Jesus' response? Scripture says, "You shall worship the Lord your God and serve only him." See, Jesus recognized that this battle is a worship issue. It's a battle between who you're going to serve and who you're going to worship. And you can't serve God and you can't serve money at the same time. And Jesus said, God first. Serving God first. And Satan's always going to make that temptation in front of us to seek the temporary things of earth.